I see is blackness. Oh, my hood's down.
Hello, friends, and let's get down to business, shall we? We open on several of the Dreadlords plotting and scheming as they have been for so long, apparently oblivious to the fact that the Burning Legion has been defeated in Kelemdor some time ago. I'm not entirely sure how Sylvanas and Kel'Thuzad know that the Burning Legion's been defeated, but anyway. However, it's about then that Arthas returns from Kelemdor. Sup, jerks? Your bosses are gone and I'm in charge now. Ha 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 ha!
How dare you threaten us? We will teleport away in anger.
Boss, you're back. Please command us. Well, I feel like we should solidify my evil, so let's kill all the remaining humans. Ha 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 ha! Easier said than done, my lord. They're attempting to escape into the hills. We'll have to work quickly before they disappear forever. Alright then, let's begin the genocide. Ha ha ha! Well, okay then, we're starting off on a really great tone. You get to control 3 groups of undead, one controlled by Sylvanas, one controlled by Arthas, and one controlled by Kel'Thuzad. And your goal is to slaughter as many humans as possible, while trying to fend off other humans that want to stop you, and prevent humans from escaping. In the midst of the slaughter, Arthas has a splitting migraine and receives a psychic message from the Lich King, informing him that apparently Illidan's attempt to destroy him did more damage than they thought, and he's now losing all of his power. Unless Arthas joins him in Northrend, the Lich King will dissipate, and Arthas will also lose all of his power, which grows weaker and weaker by the moment. Manifested in-game by every mission, you lose 1 level. So with Arthas starting out at level 10 from the get-go, that's not so bad, but by the late game, with the regular difficulty curve, that can start to get kinda punishing. Ha 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 ha! We've destroyed all of the humans left. Now there's nothing left to stand in my way of ruling like a true— Ow! God, this really hurts! What part of get your butt here did you not understand? Did I stutter at some point? What is the matter, my king? It looks like I'm going on a road trip, Kel'Thuzad. Ha ha ha! Ow! It hurts to laugh. Later that evening, Sylvanas goes to have a secret conference with the remaining Dreadlords.
Why exactly did you come here?
You have answers, and I have questions. The Lich Lord no longer controls me. What's up with that?
His power is growing weaker. It's basically what we learned in the last level. But now we're explaining it to you.
Is that why I'm filled with a burning hatred for Arthas?
No, that's kind of all you, babe. But hey, you want to help us overthrow him and reclaim the Scourge for ourselves?
Do I want to be a slave to you or a slave to him? Let me think.
Do not get in our way, little tiny elf, or we will crush you. We are the real power in this land, and you shall not defy us.
If you will not help us, will you promise not to hinder our efforts?
You seek vengeance in your way, and I shall seek it in mine.
I am afraid we're going to have to do something about her eventually.
Sure, why not? Only one elf? What trouble could she prove to be?
The next morning, Arthas' preparations to leave for Northrend are completed. However, before setting out, he finds out that the Dreadlords have managed to commandeer a majority of the Scourge and turn them against him. Fortunately, the undead under Kel'Thuzad's control are still loyal to Arthas, so help Arthas fight his way out of the capital city. Only for them to be overwhelmed at the last, but then rescued by forces loyal to Sylvanas. That seems a little out of keeping for her. We have arrived. What are you talking about? This doesn't remotely resemble Burger King. Ah! It's a trap, Arthas. God, you're stupid. Ah! No! I specifically made friends so I couldn't lose them. Ha ha ha! You shot me! Ha ha ha! Oh, I did more than that, Arthas. I also poisoned you. But why? I've never done anything to deserve that. Well, besides maybe destroying your homeland and raising you as an undead. Ha ha ha! I mean, do you even hear yourself? And now my vengeance will be fulfilled, and I will never run from you or anyone else ever again. Arthas, I've come to save you. Quickly, my undead legion, defend your king. This may look like I'm going back on what I just said, but I'll never stop hating you, Arthas. Never!
Well, I guess you're leaving for Northrend. I'm sure glad I was able to help you. You were a good king.
Don't lie to me, Kel'Thuzad. I was barely competent. Anyway, I'm off to Northrend to go complete my epic story arc. Laters! Ha 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 ha! Sometime later, Sylvanas is struggling with her own now near immortality and the fact that she no longer has a purpose without serving the Lich King. When...
Ah, Sylvanas, I'm glad to see you. That was a nice job with the poisoning, by the way, and...
Silence, Dreadlord, I have no time for your flattery. What is it that you want from me exactly?
Getting right down to business, I see. Very well. I and the rest of the Dreadlords want you to come work for us as our personal secretary or something. Don't defy us or else we will have to kill you. Again.
Sorry, but not interested. I didn't fight my way free of the Lich King to work for you all. Now get out of here.
Well, if that's how you feel, I guess we'll have to murder you in a little bit. Bye.
Mistress, there are others nearby. Perhaps we should possess them. I'm not entirely sure I follow, random Banshee attendant. Explain to me what your plan is exactly. There are a group of human mercenaries near here. Perhaps we could possess them. No, sorry, still not getting it. Exactly what are you talking about? Oh, good gracious. We're banshees. Our unit ability is to possess people. So we possess their leaders, and then their entire faction works for us. Oh, that makes much more sense. That's a great plan. Go do that. We serve the Dark Lady now, boys. Oh, this is going to be such fun. But yeah, this is one of the most restrictive and most interesting levels of the entire campaign. Restricted to basically only Banshees and a few other units, your only option for gaining stronger units is to find various creeps on the map and possess their leaders, giving you access to a whole bunch of new allies. Before coming in and destroying the base of Varimatharas, the Dreadlord who threatened us, who from here on out I'm going to be referring to as Vinny. Vinny's forces end up being defeated, but doesn't want to die, so he offers to serve us instead to help us destroy the other Dreadlords. Ah, well that was convenient. And hey, now we've got a second hero to help us out. Meanwhile, Arthas has reached Northrend only to discover that Kael'thas and his Blood Elves have arrived. Fortunately, he is saved by Anupa Rock, a servant of the Lich King, who offers to show him through the underground passages of the Spider People of Northrend, allowing them to bypass Kael'thas' army and reach the Frozen Throne faster, if not necessarily safer. Along the way, we kill a dragon for his treasure and proceed to raise him as an undead frostworm, which is kind of awesome. And get a taste for the kind of trouble we're in for later by fighting some of the Spider People, or Nerubians, to get to the entrance to their underground city. Meanwhile, Sylvanas is putting that useful information she's gained from Vinny to good use. She's learned the Dreadlord Deatharok has used his powers to gain control over the mind of the general leading the human forces remaining in Lordaeron. Huh, I wonder who that could be. But either way, has now recruited them as his own personal army. Thankfully, we use a little bit of clever possession to sneak our way into the city and proceed to do as much damage as possible during the nighttime to weaken the two armies before dawn, which is a clever way of making use of the day-night cycle, which really doesn't come up very much unless you're playing Night Elves. And what would you know, the human leader is our old racist buddy Garithos. Gee, I'd sure hate for something horrible to happen to him, like being enslaved by an undead Dreadlord. Fortunately, we're able to slay Deatharok and free him, at which point Sylvanas makes an interesting offer. Alright, listen up, Garithos. I don't like you and you don't like me, but I need your help to defeat the remaining Dreadlord. So in return for my assistance, I'll give you back your capital city. What do you say?
What? Working with an undead elf? I already hate you enough when you're alive. Why would I work with an undead one?
Because then you'll have the chance to stab me in the back.
Well, I do like the sound of that. Very well.
I'll meet you outside the city in a few days.
We're totally going to kill him, right?
Well, obviously, flaming racist. Well, a couple of days later, and the band's all ready to perform. Sylvanas will go in through the front door, while Garithos is going to go in through the back. But not before finding out about a group of dwarves that have gotten waylaid. So Garithos goes to save them in the most flamingly racist way possible.
Listen up, you filthy lawn ornaments. It's time for you to get back to work. Now, follow me to death and glory.
Hopefully more of the latter and less of the former. And with our combined efforts, we're able to destroy the Dreadlord Balmazar. In the post-battle, things get interesting, as Sylvanas forces Vinny to destroy Balmazar, and probably realizing that she's going to become a mainstay of the series, goes ahead and actually murders him. The first Dreadlord to slay another Dreadlord ever. Unsurprisingly, Sylvanas goes back on her word to Garithos, and we watch Vinny just utterly rip him to shreds. And may I say, it is very, very satisfying. So Sylvanas' plan is to gather up all the other undead that are no longer enslaved to the Lich King and build her own army. Gee, I wonder if they were setting up stuff for World of Warcraft already. Probably. And that's where we leave her story for this game. We cut back over to Arthas and Anupa Rock in Northrend. They're about to enter the underground tombs of the Spider People, only to discover that there are a bunch of dwarves living there. These are the dwarves from Muradin Bronzebeard expedition to find Frostmourne, who took refuge in here after Arthas totally murdered Muradin. So great, now we're gonna have to fight our way through spider people as well as dwarves in this underground network. But I gotta say, these levels are absolutely awesome, containing all kinds of fun puzzles like having to blow up dynamite to activate levers to allow you to cross over chasms, fighting your way through hordes of giant spiders, and finding all kinds of cool treasure down here. But eventually we do catch up with the leader of the dwarves. He reveals the reason the dwarves are still here is because they're trying to imprison some sort of horrible monsters that have been buried beneath the earth. The Faceless Ones. But Arthas has no patience for myths and legends when he's got a date with destiny. So of course we end up killing him. As we descend deeper into the tombs, we get warnings of dark evils that the Nerubians locked away thousands of years ago. Probably nothing. I also gotta say, this is also a really great level containing this fun little water puzzle where by removing a door lock, you can open these doors and allow water to pour through and take out these turrets designed to damage you if you try and go down this hallway. I gotta say, that's a cool environmental thing I really wish we had seen other places, like booby traps in the Tomb of Sargeras or something. Heading further into the underground network, we start finding all of these tentacles sticking up out of the ground, as well as the eponymous Faceless Ones, which I gotta say, yeah, I spoke too soon. This is going full H.P. Lovecraft right here. Passing through a gate, we end up discovering the source of all of those tentacles. This is the Forgotten One, the ancient horror that the Nerubians have kept imprisoned down here for centuries. Okay, yeah, yay, really going for the cosmic horror now. But, of course, we end up slaying it and have to make a run for it as more Faceless Ones come to chase us. All in all, that was, interesting. So the earthquakes are getting more and more intense and have caused part of the tomb to collapse, separating Arthas from Anupa Rock, which at this point isn't great, since Arthas is the lowest level he's been the entire campaign. And honestly, he's gonna die if anything so much as coughs at him. Like these booby traps! Once again, fire traps. This is something cool and interesting that makes navigating the map not just a go from point A to point B. I really wish we had seen this more in other places. Come on, Blizzard, why did you waste all of your good ideas on this one area? One thing I don't miss is this puzzle platforming section where you have to use rising and falling elevators to try and cross a room. It doesn't help, they don't really make it very clear when any of the tiles are level with each other, so it's hard to really navigate. And it really is just kind of boring and frustrating until you get lucky or figure out the pattern, which I'll admit I've never been able to do. Fortunately, waiting for us on the far side is Anupa Rock, who's managed to tunnel his way through to us. And I gotta say, I kind of love the best friends-frenemy dynamic that Anupa Rock and Arthas have. Fortunately, we're finally able to fight our way to freedom and onwards to the Lich King. And it's time for a pointless diversion. We get an interesting little cutscene where Arthas rallies together his forces and communes with the Lich King once again, who basically says, yes, you are my greatest servant ever, blah 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 blah, stuff we already knew, and proceeds to give us all of his remaining power to ensure that we're able to finally reach him and are able to merge our essence with his. That sounds like a job promotion to me if I've ever heard of one. So, revitalized and with the threat of enemies all around, Arthas makes a desperate push to try and reach the Lich King before Illidan and Kael'thas have their opportunity to destroy him. In the next level, we finally reach Clown Glacier. It seems that the glacier itself has been sealed off by these 4 obelisks that someone needs to control to be able to open the door. And if that someone has anything to say about it, it's going to be Illidan, who intends to destroy the Lich King to fulfill his promise to kill Jaden. So we establish ourselves a base and go to control all of the obelisks. Ugh, it's taking so much energy to try and control these obelisks. Keep the enemy away from me, Anupa Rock. Ugh, this is so much work. Oh, it hurts to laugh.
Oh, don't mind me. I'm just doing all the hard work of actually killing folks. Yeah, you keep standing there and waving your sword around.
Eventually, though, we're able to gain control of all 4 obelisks and open the gates and allow ourselves into the frozen tomb of the Lich King. Hello there, lover. Did you miss me? Ha ha ha! If it isn't my ex-boyfriend who I made myself pretty for before he dumped me. Let's do this. Alright, let's go. Ha 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 ha! The in-game fight scene of this climactic battle is a little underwhelming for now, but at the time, this was freaking awesome! But it does unfortunately culminate in Arthas slaying Illidan and leaving his broken body on the ground. That is not so dead and broken because he's going to be an antagonist come Burden Crusade. But that's a story for later, while Arthas ascends to the frozen throne itself. Now, this endgame cinematic is truly perfect and a great way to round out the story of Arthas. As he ascends the tower up to the frozen throne, he hears the voices and memories of every single thing he's done that has brought him to this point. The betrayal of Muradin, the slaying of his father, killing Uther. It's a great culmination of his transformation into the true evil antagonist of the franchise. Before he shatters the frozen throne and adorns himself with the crown of domination, the seat of power for the Lich King's spirit, and he becomes the new Lich King, atop his throne of ice, all alone. And that's where we end the game. So let's try and talk about what was really great about this game. Arthas' transformation into the Lich King is great, an overarching story that has really come together by the end, and has some definite payoff for some narrative stakes. And in terms of game mechanics, it's kind of fun having him constantly getting weaker and weaker with each level. It makes you feel more fragile, which is kind of the narrative stake there. And a cool little gameplay mechanic as well. Sylvanas slowly subduing the Dreadlords and eventually rising to become a power in the lands of Lordaeron is really, really interesting and a really cool character arc, since we pretty much didn't see anything of her after Arthas raised her as a Banshee. And I gotta say, is one of my favorite units to play in multiplayer. Anupa Rock is an interesting character, since he's more of an unwilling servant of the Lich King than most of the major baddies we've seen up until this point. In fact, the title given to him by the Nerubians is the Traitor King, since he was their leader before risen to undeath, and now is forced to battle them by the Lich King. It would have been nice if it was a little bit better conveyed, but all in all, a well-done character. The final fight between Arthas and Illidan is kind of interesting, since they're both traitors in their own way. Arthas starting off as a lawful good character before slowly turning to lawful evil. Meanwhile, Illidan was always a chaotic good character at best, and though his actions may have seemed monstrous at times, he generally tries to stay on the good side of the alignment spectrum, even if he does have to do things that might cause others to question whether or not he's still loyal to the cause. And on a personal side note, I'm really glad they brought him back and didn't kill him off forever. I enjoyed the introduction of cosmic horror elements to the story to help keep the world from feeling too generic and fantasy, and to leave the door open for more mysteries that we could explore later in future games. Or, as we found out later, all of them got explained in World of Warcraft. And yeah, I pretty much said it already, but oh my goodness, the level design for the subterranean levels of Northrend was amazing. I really wish they had been given the time and energy to do that with more than just this one part of the game, but all in all, pretty awesome, gotta say. Oi, aren't you gonna talk about Garithos at all? What is there to say about Garithos? He's one Make Azeroth Great Again hat away from being a racist stereotype with no redeemable elements. It was nice to see them reuse the character from the human campaign, but all in all, the only really good thing about his character was watching him die at the end. But yeah, as of recording this video in 2019, Blizzard has yet to release any new RTSs in the Warcraft genre. And I gotta say that's a little bit of a pity, since this was one of the franchises that defined the genre back in the day. But, you know, all in all, I really like this game, and that's part of why I wanted to do this retrospective, was to tell everyone about it and hopefully get you to try out some of the other games in the franchise.
Oi! What about the Orc Campaign?
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. There is an Orc Campaign on here. Maybe I should do a look at that. Alright, let's see. Wait. And that's the condensed version? Oh, hell no. You guys go play that on your own. I'm good. So yeah, failing me getting like, I don't know, 10,000 subscribers, we're not looking at the founding of Durotar anytime soon. But you know, I've been trying to decide how I really feel about this game, what words to put it in, and I guess the best I can come up with is...
Well, I don't have a name for it, been trying